that the PAP government is able to have a firm grip on the finances and hence the life and livelihoods of Singaporeans is because they have full control over the land and they have full control over our CPF accounts. Do we want to continue to allow them to do that? Currently, more than 80% of land in Singapore is owned by the government. A lot of this land was acquired from our parents and grandparents in the early 1970s and 80s, very cheaply. Sometimes it's even for $1 or $2. Like the land that the government has acquired from the villages of the Ama King and also Tengah. The government's current policy is that when HDB builds a new flat, it must put the cost of the land into the reserves. We have no problem, and I'm sure many of our parents and grandparents wouldn't mind, or at least in the end they accepted that the government has acquired the land for the good of the country. However, now the government is selling back the land to us at very high cost. One family came to see me. Their grandfather has lost the land, hundreds of acres of land, and was paid only $60,000. They came to me and say that was 30 years ago. Today, that piece of land was just sold 2 years ago for close to $1 billion. And at the same time, their nieces and nephews have to buy HDB flats at $500,000 each. Is that kind of Singapore we want? PSP wants to change that. PSP has proposed that every Singaporean should be entitled to a roof over their head without having the other Singaporeans to pay a hefty land cost for them. Why other Singaporeans? Because today, a Singaporean who buys a BTO flat, he can't afford the price if we include the whole land cost. So what the government has done is to ask all the Singaporeans to pay for it by charging the budget. That means taking the money from the taxes that all of us have paid for. Currently, the state does not charge land cost for schools and hospitals. So why can't we extend this policy to public housing? We want that, right? Under our proposal, if the HDB flat buyer just buy the HDB flat, the BTO flat, for living in, he doesn't need to pay the land cost. However, when he wants to resell the HDB flats for a profit, he needs to pay the land cost to the state. This is fair, right? Is that fair? Yes. Hence, the scheme that we have proposed, no land cost for public housing, is not about giving away land free. It's about providing really affordable public housing to Singaporeans who only want a roof over their heads. Without land costs, just to give you an idea, a BTO today will cost only about $100,000 to $150,000, compared to the current BTO price of about $500,000. The PAP says our proposal is irresponsible. However, is the PAP responsible in promising Singaporeans asset enhancement for their HDB flats and now saying that it will become zero value when the 99-year lease is up? Is that fair? Have they been telling the truth? Even before the flat reaches 99 years, actually more and more Singaporeans will start to suffer from lease decay as their flat age beyond 40 years old. This means that there will be an increasing divergence between the price of younger flats and older flats. This will become more and more noticeable when flats become older and older. The raw deal that the residents of blocks 562 to 565 along Ang Mo Kio Avenue 3 for their SERF in 2022. I don't know whether you all remember that or not. At that time, the Ang Mo Kio residents were complaining, and that came out in the mass media. I went out to try to render some help to them. And the reason why they didn't have a good deal compared to other SERFs in the past is because of the effect of lease decay. But 7 years ago, PAP promised that they would have some schemes to deal with the lease decay problem, like they have proposed VERS, Voluntary and Block Redevelopment Scheme. However, 7 days later, Singaporeans are still waiting, and I have questioned the ministers many times in Parliament. I say, lease decay is already causing problems to Singaporeans today. For those people who are owning older flats, why don't you come out with a solution as soon as possible? Those Singaporeans who are suffering actually do not know they are suffering. This is the kind of government who do not give us complete information. So I have asked them many times in Parliament. They say that it's coming, but till date, there has been no answer to them. So many years ago, when they say that they will find a solution for lease decay, was that just an empty promise? A lot of flats built in the 1970s will reach the 60-year mark very soon. Lease decay will start to have a bigger and bigger impact on our property prices. We need more certainty from the government for the sake of Singaporeans, not just empty talk. With our no land cost scheme, future Singaporeans will not have to worry about lease decay anymore because the price is low. The BTO price is low. And future generations of Singaporeans will not need to worry about ever increasing BTO prices. PSP's no land cost scheme is not radical. It is practical. It's compassionate. In fact, it is urgent. Do you agree? It makes public housing truly public again, not just in name, but in spirit. This is the kind of national policies we want to debate and find solutions for Singaporeans. We are very disappointed that the National Development Minister, Mr. Desmond Lee, who is directly in charge of public housing, did not seem to appreciate the advantages of our no land cost scheme. No wonder he has declined our invitation to a debate on national issues. He only seems to want to talk about local issues. But the national issues, which are far more important for Singaporeans to improve their lives and livelihoods, he doesn't want to debate with us. Every election, the PAP wants you to think that you are electing estate managers for the town councils. But actually, as MPs, we should be debating national policies. You are electing MPs because you want your MP to voice your problems and formulate good national policies. Agree?